She entered the salon as a normal customer, but faced humiliation and contempt. The master ruined her hair, and the management refused to accept her complaint, convinced that such people don't belong here. But they did not suspect that this woman is the owner of the entire chain. Now they're in for a revelation that will change everything. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and like it. Where are you watching this? Write in the comments. The gleaming marble floors reflected the soft glow of the crystal chandeliers suspended from the ceiling. The high-end salon exuded opulence, from the carefully curated floral arrangements at the entrance to the plush leather chairs in which clients sat, sipping lattes as they waited for their appointments. Soft, classical music floated through the air, mingling with the scents of expensive hair products and designer perfumes. Conversations in low tones filled the space, revolving around exclusive events, weekend getaways, and insider financial tips. The clients were well-heeled individuals, socialites, celebrities, and business elites, comfortable in their luxury surroundings. Amid the scene, a woman entered quietly, her presence unnoticed by most. Cassandra, dressed in simple jeans and a crisp white blouse, walked through the salon's double-glass doors. Her black hair was tied loosely at the nape of her neck, and her minimal makeup gave her an unassuming appearance. She had purposefully chosen this look. Today, she wanted to be anonymous, just another face among the clientele. Her status as the owner of the entire salon chain kept hidden. This visit wasn't part of her usual routine. She preferred to let her managers handle the day-to-day operations, but lately, whispers had reached her ears. Rumors about a toxic culture brewing in some branches of her business. She'd built her brand on the ideals of inclusivity and respect, determined to create a safe and luxurious space for people of all backgrounds. If those principles were being ignored, she needed to see it for herself. She glanced around, noting how the employees interacted with the predominantly white clientele. She recognized the subtleties, the deferential tones, the ready smiles, the way assistants rushed to bring refreshments before a word was even spoken. It was the kind of service she expected from her staff, but she would soon learn it wasn't extended to everyone equally. At a far corner of the salon stood Erica, a stylist with a reputation for her skilled hands and sharp tongue. Known for attracting wealthy clients, Erica carried herself with an air of superiority, a queen presiding over her realm. Dressed in a sleek black uniform, her platinum blonde hair pulled into a neat bun, she radiated confidence and control. Cassandra watched as Erica leaned toward a colleague, whispering something, followed by quiet laughter. Her sharp gaze briefly swept over Cassandra without recognition before dismissing her as someone unworthy of notice. Cassandra wasn't surprised. She had encountered people like Erica before, those who wore their prejudice as comfortably as they wore designer clothes. Erica's voice carried across the salon as she addressed her coworkers. "It's always the same, isn't it? They come in thinking they can belong here," she said with a smirk, not bothering to lower her voice. Cassandra caught the glance Erica threw in her direction. "But they don't fit in, and it shows." A flicker of anger ignited in Cassandra, but she forced it down. She hadn't come here to react emotionally. She was here to observe, to confirm what she suspected. She approached the reception desk where a young woman with a tight smile greeted her. "Good afternoon. Do you have an appointment?" the receptionist asked, her eyes flickering over Cassandra's simple attire. "Yes, I have an appointment with Erica," Cassandra replied, keeping her tone neutral. The receptionist hesitated, a hint of skepticism in her eyes, but after a brief check on her computer, she nodded. "Please, have a seat. Someone will be with you shortly." Cassandra sat down on one of the plush chairs, her posture relaxed but her mind alert. From her seat, she continued to observe the dynamics in the salon. It didn't take long to notice the stark difference in treatment. While the other clients were showered with attention and care, she was left waiting longer than necessary. Assistants walked by without offering her so much as a glass of water. Eventually, Erica sauntered over, her smile thin and insincere. "You must be Cassandra," she said, her tone flat. "I'm Erica. Let's see what we can do for you today." Cassandra rose and followed Erica to a styling chair. As she sat, she caught sight of herself in the mirror, her reflection a stark contrast to the sleek, polished clientele around her. Erica began combing through her hair with a detached air, her movements sharp and mechanical, as if every second spent on Cassandra was a chore. "So, what are we doing today?" Erica asked, her voice laced with disinterest. "Just a trim, something neat," Cassandra replied, studying Erica through the mirror. Erica snorted softly. "Neat, huh? We'll see what we can manage." Cassandra's fingers tightened on the armrests of the chair, but she remained composed. This was only the beginning, and she intended to see it through to the end. Erica's actions today would reveal far more than words ever could. While Erica worked, she occasionally paused to chat with her colleagues, exchanging remarks that dripped with subtle condescension. Cassandra listened, her anger simmering beneath the surface, but she kept her expression neutral, letting the experience unfold without interruption. By the time Erica finished preparing Cassandra's hair for the cut, the stylist's lack of care was evident. Her comb tugged at Cassandra's scalp with unnecessary force, and she used products indiscriminately, ignoring Cassandra's specific hair needs. Cassandra felt every insult, every slight, but she didn't react. Not yet. When Erica finally started trimming, her movements were quick and careless, as if she wanted to get it over with as soon as possible. She pulled too hard at sections, snipping unevenly. The other stylists stole glances, exchanging knowing looks that confirmed Cassandra's suspicions. Erica's behavior wasn't an anomaly. It was a pattern. Cassandra held her silence, letting Erica continue without correction. She needed to experience the full extent of the problem, even if it meant enduring this humiliating treatment. As the minutes dragged on, Cassandra felt a strange sense of clarity. This wasn't just about her. If Erica treated her this way today, how many others had suffered similar indignities in silence? How many people had walked through these doors only to leave feeling diminished, unwelcome, and unseen? The realization strengthened her resolve. Cassandra hadn't built her business to become just another place where exclusion thrived. She had built it to break barriers, to change perceptions, and to challenge the status quo. When Erica finally finished, she spun the chair around, presenting Cassandra with the result. The haircut was a mess, uneven with rough edges. Erica's smirk was barely concealed. "There you go," she said. "All set." Cassandra looked at herself in the mirror, taken in the sight of the shoddy work. She felt the familiar sting of humiliation, but masked it with a calm smile. "Thank you," she said quietly. Erica's expression faltered for a moment, as if she had expected a different reaction. Cassandra stood up, smoothing her hands over her jeans. "I'll just settle the bill," she added, her tone polite. Erica shrugged. "Sure thing. Take your time." Cassandra walked back to the reception desk, her mind already planning her next steps. She wasn't done here. Not by a long shot. This was only the beginning. As she paid for the service, the receptionist offered the same tight smile as before, still unaware of the storm brewing beneath Cassandra's composed exterior. Cassandra left the salon with a quiet determination. The stage was set. The first act had played out. Now it was time to see how the rest of the story would unfold. Cassandra returned to the salon the next day, her emotions held tightly in check. The memory of the previous experience lingered with her. Not just Erica's casual cruelty, but also the quiet complicity of the staff and management. The weight of that humiliation was heavy, but Cassandra knew she couldn't confront the issue immediately. She needed to witness just how far they would go, not only with her, but with anyone they deemed beneath their so-called standards. As she stepped through the door, Erica spotted her and rolled her eyes, exchanging a smirk with another stylist. Cassandra caught the whispered exchange. "She's back," Erica muttered, shaking her head in disbelief. "Some people just don't know when they're not welcome." "Maybe she likes the abuse," the other stylist snickered. Erica laughed along without a shred of shame. Cassandra suppressed the surge of anger building inside her. It wasn't the insults that stung, it was the ease with which they were spoken, as if mistreating someone like her was perfectly normal, expected even. Erica sauntered toward Cassandra, her expression a mix of boredom and disdain. "Back for more?" she asked, an eyebrow raised mockingly. "Yes," Cassandra replied calmly. "Just need this mess cleaned up. Thought I'd give you another shot." Erica gave a theatrical sigh and motioned toward a chair. "Fine, sit down. Let's see what we can do." Cassandra obeyed, lowering herself into the chair and meeting Erica's gaze in the mirror. She could see the challenge in the stylist's eyes, the unspoken assertion that Erica held all the power in this moment. Erica began combing Cassandra's hair with deliberate roughness, yanking at the strands without care. "You know," she said with a smirk, "some hair just wasn't meant for these kinds of places. It's like putting a square peg in a round hole." Cassandra stayed silent, her grip tightening on the armrests of the chair. She could feel every tug, every snide remark cutting deeper than the scissors ever could. "So," Erica continued, her voice thick with sarcasm, "what made you think a place like this was a good fit? Just curious." Cassandra's expression remained neutral. "Thought I'd treat myself." Erica chuckled, exchanging a glance with a nearby stylist. "Bold choice." The scissors snipped away, the movements hurried and careless. Erica made no attempt to disguise her disinterest. She sliced unevenly through the strands, leaving jagged layers behind. When she finished, she ruffled Cassandra's hair dismissively. "There," Erica announced, stepping back with a self-satisfied grin. "All set. Hope you're happy with it." Cassandra looked at herself in the mirror. The haircut was worse than before, uneven and choppy, as if done by an amateur in a rush. She ran her fingers through the damaged strands, feeling the rough edges left behind. "Not exactly what I had in mind," Cassandra said quietly, her voice steady despite the anger boiling within her. Erica crossed her arms, unfazed. "Can't win 'em all," she said with a shrug. Cassandra stood up, smoothing her clothes as she did. "No worries," she said. "I'll take care of it." Erica smirked. "I'm sure you will." As Cassandra made her way toward the front desk to settle the bill, Erica turned to her colleague and whispered, "Told you, they never belong, and it always shows." Cassandra heard every word. She kept her expression neutral as she handed her card to the receptionist, who took it without enthusiasm. "Is there anything else I can help you with today?" the receptionist asked, her voice lacking the warmth she had shown other clients earlier. "No," Cassandra replied, her tone measured. "That will be all." The receptionist swiped the card and handed it back, her tight smile never reaching her eyes. Cassandra accepted it, knowing this was just another layer of the problem she had come here to expose. As she left the salon, the humiliation weighed heavily on her. But beneath that weight, something stronger stirred, a quiet resolve that solidified with each step she took. She had endured the treatment, witnessed the arrogance and disdain firsthand. Now it was time to act. But she wouldn't confront them immediately. No, she would give them a chance to redeem themselves, to show if there was any decency left beneath the facade of luxury. Later that evening, Cassandra sat in her apartment, brushing her fingers through the ruined strands of her hair. The mirror reflected the mess Erica had made, but it also reflected the fire in Cassandra's eyes. She wouldn't let this slide, and she certainly wouldn't allow anyone else to endure what she had gone through. Cassandra thought about the foundation she had built, her network of salons designed to promote inclusivity and respect. How far had they drifted from that vision? How many clients had walked through the doors, only to leave feeling unworthy and unwanted? The more she thought about it, the clearer her next steps became. She would lodge a formal complaint, not as the owner of the chain, but as an ordinary client. She wanted to see how the system handled someone without influence or status. The next morning, Cassandra returned to the salon, her demeanor calm but determined. She asked to speak with the manager, who arrived with a look of mild irritation, as if Cassandra's presence was an inconvenience. "I'd like to file a complaint," Cassandra said, her voice steady. The manager, a middle-aged man in an expensive suit, raised an eyebrow. "What seems to be the issue?" he asked with a hint of condescension. Cassandra recounted her experience with Erica, detailing every insult, every tug of her hair, and the careless way the stylist had treated her. She spoke clearly and calmly, keeping her emotions in check. When she finished, the manager gave a slow, deliberate nod. "I see," he said, though his tone suggested otherwise. "Listen," he added, leaning slightly toward Cassandra, "this salon has a reputation to uphold. We cater to a certain clientele, and sometimes, well, not everyone fits." Cassandra felt the familiar sting of those words, but kept her expression neutral. "And what exactly do you mean by that?" The manager shrugged, offering a rehearsed smile. "Our stylists are trained to provide a specific kind of experience. It's not personal, just business." Cassandra nodded slowly, her decision crystallizing. She knew now, without a doubt, that the problem ran deeper than just one stylist. It was a systemic issue, a culture of exclusion hiding beneath the veneer of luxury. The manager handed her a card. "If you have any further concerns, feel free to reach out to our corporate office," he said dismissively. Cassandra accepted the card with a small smile, knowing full well that the complaint wouldn't go far, at least not through the usual channels. "Thank you," she said softly. "I'll be sure to do that." As she left the salon for the third time, a sense of finality settled over her. The time for observation was over. Now it was time to act. The stage was set for the next step, a revelation that would leave everyone in the salon reeling. Cassandra's patience had reached its limit, and soon they would all understand the consequences of underestimating her. The tension simmered beneath Cassandra's composed demeanor as she walked toward the salon's reception desk. She knew this moment was pivotal. Her complaint was a test, and she fully expected it to fail. But she wanted to experience how the salon would respond, not as an owner, but as a customer whose voice carried no weight in their eyes. The receptionist looked up from her computer with a tight smile. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone clipped and impatient. "Yes," Cassandra replied calmly. "I'd like to speak with the manager about an issue I encountered here." The receptionist hesitated, her polite facade cracking for a moment. "Is there a specific problem?" "Yes," Cassandra said. "The stylist I was assigned, Erica, treated me unprofessionally and ruined my hair." The receptionist gave a slight nod and picked up the phone. "One moment. I'll call the manager." Minutes later, the manager arrived. A man in his 50s, dressed in an expensive suit, his expression a blend of mild annoyance and condescension. He carried himself with the kind of authority that suggested he rarely encountered opposition. "I understand you've had a problem with one of our stylists," he said, glancing at Cassandra briefly before shifting his attention to the receptionist, as if dismissing her importance. "Yes," Cassandra answered. "I had 2 appointments with Erica, and both times she was deliberately careless. She insulted me and clearly made no effort to provide professional service." The manager sighed, as if this was a minor inconvenience rather than a serious concern. "I see. Well, we hold our staff to high standards, but sometimes there are misunderstandings." Cassandra raised an eyebrow. "Misunderstandings?" The manager offered a tight smile. "You have to understand, our stylists work with a certain type of clientele. They're trained to provide a particular experience, tailored to meet the expectations of those clients." "And you're saying I don't meet those expectations?" Cassandra's voice was even, though her patience was thinning. The manager shifted his weight, clearly uncomfortable. "It's not that, but let's be honest, our salon isn't exactly a fit for everyone." Cassandra's jaw tightened, but she maintained her calm. She had been right to come here, to test the waters. This wasn't just one stylist's bias, it was an ingrained culture sanctioned by the management. "I'd like to file a formal complaint," Cassandra said. The manager gave another rehearsed smile. "Of course, I'll make a note of it. But, to be transparent, these kinds of complaints don't usually result in much. Our clients tend to appreciate our service as it is." Cassandra felt the weight of his words. It wasn't just a dismissal. It was a reminder that, in his eyes, she didn't belong here. The manager handed her a business card with the salon's corporate contact information. "If you feel strongly, you can escalate your concerns. But I can assure you, Erica is one of our top stylists. We don't see many complaints about her." "Perhaps that's because not many people bother," Cassandra said, slipping the card into her pocket. The manager gave her a thin smile, clearly eager to end the conversation. "Is there anything else I can do for you today?" "No," Cassandra replied. "That will be all." As she turned to leave, Erica walked by, her smug expression confirming that she had overheard everything. She gave Cassandra a smirk and whispered just loud enough for her to hear, "Told you, sweetheart. Some places just aren't for everyone." Cassandra paused for a moment, steadying herself. She had prepared for this, but the reality of the situation still stung. She could have ended it right then, revealed who she was, and demanded justice. But not yet. The door swung shut behind her as Cassandra stepped into the cool afternoon air. Her heart pounded, and memories she had tried to bury surfaced, unbidden. Years ago, she had been a little girl walking into a department store with her mother. The stares had been immediate, subtle but unmistakable. Security guards had followed them from aisle to aisle, as if their presence alone was suspicious. When they finally approached the register, the cashier had looked past them, serving other customers first. Her mother had squeezed her hand and whispered, "Don't ever let them make you feel like you don't belong." That lesson had stayed with her. It fueled her ambition and shaped her vision. She had vowed to build something different, something that welcomed everyone, regardless of appearance or background. Now, standing outside the salon, Cassandra knew that vision was being threatened, and she wasn't going to let that happen. That evening, Cassandra sat at her kitchen table, reviewing the salon's policies and employee handbooks. She had written many of those documents herself, embedding her values into every line. But somewhere along the way, the message had been lost, or deliberately ignored. Her fingers traced the edges of the business card the manager had given her. The corporate contact information was printed in elegant gold lettering, as if to signify that only the privileged could use it. Cassandra's phone buzzed with a text from her assistant, Sarah. "Everything all right? You've been quiet today." Cassandra smiled faintly, her anger still simmering beneath the surface. "Everything's fine," she replied. "I just need a little more time." Sarah's response was immediate. "Do you need backup?" Cassandra shook her head, typing, "Not yet, but soon." She put the phone down and leaned back in her chair. The salon had failed her test spectacularly, and now it was time to take the next step. She wouldn't let them continue operating under the illusion of exclusivity without consequence. Her mind was already forming a plan, a public reveal that would leave no room for excuses or justifications. The following morning, Cassandra sent a formal email to the salon's corporate office, detailing her experience in precise and factual terms. She attached photographs of her ruined haircut and outlined the dismissive responses she had received from both Erica and the manager. Then she sat back and waited, knowing the chain of events she had set in motion could not be undone. But Cassandra wasn't just waiting for an email response. She was preparing for what came next, something far more impactful than a corporate apology. She knew how these things worked. They would offer hollow platitudes, perhaps a gift card or a discount on future services. That wouldn't be enough. The salon's culture needed to change, and Cassandra was determined to make sure it did. She closed her laptop and stood by the window, watching the city awaken to another day. The reflection in the glass reminded her of everything she had fought for, everything she had built. And she wasn't going to let anyone take that away. Not Erica, not the manager, not anyone. This was her fight, and she was ready. The time had come for Cassandra to drop the facade. She was done watching from the sidelines, done with the subtle hints and quiet observations. Today, they would all know exactly who she was, and the consequences of underestimating her. She arrived at the salon in the middle of the afternoon, when the place was at its busiest. The marble floors gleamed under the sunlight pouring through the windows, and the air buzzed with quiet conversations. Clients sipped their complimentary drinks, chatting with stylists about upcoming events and exotic vacations. It was the perfect setting for what Cassandra intended to do. Dressed in an elegant but understated black blazer, fitted pants, and low heels, Cassandra exuded quiet authority. She walked through the entrance with purpose, her eyes scanning the room until they landed on Erica. The stylist was mid-conversation with another client, her laugh sharp and carefree. It was time to disrupt the carefully maintained illusion of superiority. Cassandra stepped forward. "Erica, can I have a moment of your time?" Erica turned, her expression shifting from amusement to irritation in an instant. "You again?" she muttered. "Look, if you've got a complaint, I already told you." "Not a complaint," Cassandra interrupted, her voice steady and calm. "A conversation. With you, the staff, and every client here." The tone of Cassandra's voice made Erica falter for a moment, but she quickly regained her composure. "What are you talking about?" she asked, folding her arms in mock defiance. Cassandra didn't respond immediately. Instead, she turned to the receptionist. "Please, gather the staff. I'd like everyone to hear what I have to say." The receptionist blinked in confusion, but didn't argue. There was something about Cassandra's demeanor, an unspoken command that couldn't be ignored. Within minutes, the salon employees gathered, exchanging puzzled looks. Curious clients leaned forward in their chairs, sensing that something unusual was about to happen. The manager appeared, his polished smile faltering as he recognized Cassandra. "What's going on here?" he demanded. Cassandra took a breath, centering herself. Then, with a calm yet powerful voice, she said, "I'd like to introduce myself properly. My name is Cassandra. I'm the founder and owner of this salon, along with every other salon in this network." A stunned silence fell over the room. The manager's face went pale, and Erica's smug grin vanished, replaced by disbelief and fear. "That's not possible," Erica stammered. "You—" "Yes," Cassandra cut her off. "I, the woman you insulted, belittled, and mistreated, own every chair, every product, and every piece of marble in this salon." Gasps rippled through the room. Cassandra turned towards the gathered employees, her voice unwavering. "I built these salons to be spaces where every person, no matter their background or appearance, would feel welcomed and respected. And yet, I've seen firsthand that my vision has been betrayed." Erica took a step back, panic flashing in her eyes. "I didn't know—" "You didn't care," Cassandra interrupted, her gaze sharp. "You saw someone you thought didn't belong, and you treated me with contempt. And from what I've observed, this behavior is not an exception. It's a pattern." The manager cleared his throat, trying to regain control. "Miss Cassandra, I assure you, this was all just a misunderstanding." "Was it?" Cassandra's voice was cool and cutting. "Because from where I stand, it seems like you've created an environment where people like Erica feel entitled to demean others without consequence." The clients in the salon exchanged glances, some murmuring in agreement. The tension in the room was palpable, thick with the weight of unspoken truths coming to light. Cassandra continued, her voice steady. "You dismissed my complaints. You told me that not everyone fits here. You implied that your version of luxury excludes people like me. Well, let me make one thing very clear. This is my business, and exclusion has no place in it." Erica tried to speak, but Cassandra silenced her with a look. "You can save your excuses. They won't help you now." The manager shifted uncomfortably, sensing that there was no way out of this without significant fallout. "What do you intend to do?" he asked cautiously. Cassandra met his gaze, her expression unreadable. "Effective immediately. Erica is relieved of her duties. And you—" She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "You will be meeting with me to discuss how we rebuild the culture of this salon from the ground up." Erica's face crumpled with disbelief. "You can't just fire me like this," she exclaimed. "I can," Cassandra said simply, "and I just did." The room buzzed with murmurs as the news began to sink in. A few clients took out their phones, capturing the moment. Cassandra knew the scene would spread like wildfire on social media, and she welcomed it. Transparency was exactly what this situation needed. Erica turned to the manager, desperation creeping into her voice. "Aren't you going to do something?" The manager shook his head, clearly realizing that his own job was hanging by a thread. "There's nothing I can do," he muttered, defeated. Cassandra allowed a moment of silence to settle before addressing everyone present. "I want to be clear. This isn't just about firing one stylist. This is about changing the way we operate. This salon and every other in this network will become a place where respect is the foundation of everything we do." The clients, some of whom had remained silent until now, nodded in approval. A woman near the front said quietly, "It's about time." Cassandra gave a small, appreciative nod before turning back to the staff. "We will be implementing new policies and mandatory training focused on inclusivity and respect. If any of you have a problem with that, you're welcome to leave now." No one moved. "Good," Cassandra said. "Then let's start fresh." As the staff began to disperse, murmuring among themselves, Cassandra felt a sense of satisfaction settle over her. But this was only the beginning. There was still much work to do to ensure that her vision was truly reflected in every aspect of the business. She knew the coming weeks would be challenging. There would be resistance, mistakes, and growing pains. But Cassandra was ready for it. She had faced far greater obstacles in her life, and she wasn't about to let a toxic salon culture derail her mission. As she turned to leave, a few clients approached her, offering quiet words of support. Cassandra smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her. Change was never easy, but it was always worth it. The door swung shut behind her, and with it, the first chapter of a new beginning. The fallout from Cassandra's revelation swept through the salon like wildfire. Within hours, the story spread across social media, and within a day, news outlets picked it up. Pictures and videos taken by clients during her public reveal went viral, accompanied by captions praising Cassandra's courage. Hashtags like #InclusionMatters and #SalonScandal began trending. Cassandra hadn't intended to create a public spectacle, but she knew the attention would force the industry and the salon staff to confront their behavior. The next morning, the salon's corporate office was inundated with emails, calls, and messages demanding accountability. Clients threatened to boycott unless action was taken, and former employees came forward, sharing their own experiences of bias and mistreatment within the network. The pressure was relentless, and it was exactly what Cassandra had anticipated. Erica was the first to face the consequences. Her dismissal was finalized swiftly, and a formal announcement was issued by the salon. "As part of our commitment to creating inclusive environments, we do not tolerate behavior that undermines these values. Effective immediately, the stylist involved in recent events has been terminated." But public condemnation didn't stop there. Social media users flooded Erica's accounts with criticism, demanding that she take responsibility for her actions. Some of her loyal clients, once drawn by her expertise, distanced themselves publicly, unwilling to be associated with someone accused of blatant prejudice. Erica, who had once thrived in a world of exclusivity and privilege, now found herself isolated. The manager wasn't spared either. Cassandra summoned him to her corporate office for a meeting. Sitting across from her, he looked uncomfortable, his polished demeanor cracking under the weight of her scrutiny. "You let this happen under your watch," Cassandra said firmly. "You created an environment where exclusion and bias were allowed to flourish." The manager shifted in his seat, struggling to find the right words. "I didn't realize it had gotten this bad." "That's not good enough," Cassandra interrupted. "You failed. But I'm giving you a choice. Either you work with me to change the culture here, or you step aside." The manager nodded, realizing he had no leverage in this situation. "I'll cooperate," he muttered. Over the next few weeks, Cassandra implemented sweeping changes throughout the salon network. A mandatory training program on diversity and inclusivity was introduced, with workshops designed to educate employees on unconscious bias, respectful communication, and the importance of equitable service. She also created an anonymous reporting system for clients and staff, ensuring that future complaints would be handled promptly and fairly. Cassandra knew that lasting change required accountability at every level, and she wasn't willing to leave anything to chance. As part of her commitment to the community, Cassandra launched a mentorship program for aspiring young stylists from underrepresented backgrounds. She invited them to train at her salons, providing both technical skills and business acumen. The salon where the incident had occurred became a symbol of transformation. Clients who had witnessed the confrontation firsthand returned, curious to see the changes. The atmosphere was noticeably different, more welcoming, more vibrant. The tension that had once lingered beneath the surface was replaced by a renewed sense of purpose. One sunny afternoon, Cassandra stood in the very salon where everything had started. This time, she wasn't just observing, she was hosting an event for local youth, many of whom had experienced prejudice in one form or another. Standing before the group, Cassandra shared her story. "I've faced discrimination my whole life. People tried to make me believe I didn't belong in certain spaces. But I learned something along the way. You don't have to fit into their world. You can create your own." The teenagers listened intently, some nodding and understanding. Cassandra's words resonated with them, offering hope and encouragement. "Don't let anyone tell you that you're not enough," she continued. "And when the world tries to push you out, push back harder. Believe in yourself, even when others don't." After the speech, Cassandra mingled with the teens, answering questions and offering advice. The event ended with smiles, laughter, and a sense of empowerment that lingered long after the attendees had left. As the last guests trickled out of the salon, Cassandra stood by the front door, watching the vibrant life within. She reflected on how far she had come, from the little girl in the department store clinging to her mother's hand, to the powerful businesswoman who now owned a network of salons known for their inclusivity. The journey hadn't been easy, and there were still challenges ahead. But standing there, in the heart of the transformed salon, Cassandra felt a profound sense of accomplishment. She had taken back her power and used it to create real change, not just for herself, but for everyone who would walk through those doors in the future. As she turned off the lights and locked the door behind her, Cassandra knew this was only the beginning. There would always be more to do, more battles to fight, more spaces to reclaim. But she was ready, because she belonged. And now, so did everyone else. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new video. And don't stop here. Check out the next video for more powerful stories that inspire and challenge. Stay tuned and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Your support helps us grow and share more meaningful content. See you in the next one.